I have been yelling and screaming about what could be the best investment for the next several years since 2020 here on this channel. And we're going to talk about that today. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. What is the best investment? What could it be? Where should I put my money? Well, I've been talking about something since 2020 over and over and over again. If you're new to the channel, I want you to understand exactly what's going on here. Look, when the government is willing to invest billions and even trillions of dollars into something, if there's a recession, if there is a mild recession, if it's even worse than this, we need to understand that they have the completely blank check. Believe me, they use it in order to invest in what they see is the right thing. At the same time, we have private investment. What we need to realize is that energy needs to be more abundant rather than the circumstance we have today. What energy could bring us to the next level so that we can utilize more, so that we could fall in line with all of their goals that they have, 2030 goals? Well, of course, it's nuclear. Now, there's debate about this, and of course, you break it down a little bit further and start to realize there's very different types of nuclear. The new stuff is apparently a lot better than the old stuff. However, in today's video, we're going to look at the depths of this, and I want to talk about all things related, beginning with, for the first time in 2 decades, US buys more from Mexico than China. So you can see that things are changing in this world as we see stuff that moves all across the globe. Look at what's going on in the Red Sea today, where you've got problems that affect people in their daily life. Well, it could happen in your own backyard when you don't have the energy, or it's too expensive, or there are shortages. Let's be honest, they can't keep up. What did we learn about in 2020? That the supply chain fundamentally is so fragile that we use this just-in-time system that is terrible. Look, oftentimes the power generation where you get yours is then sold off. It's like a commodity, not to be used for you, but oftentimes sold off. Water sold off, land is sold off. We need to realize that we need to go more local. And of course, we need to be able to depend on our own circumstances rather than reliant on everything else. One of the main reasons why the Roman Empire fell is that they were outsourcing, right? They were going out, they were spreading themselves too thin. They were outsourcing their wheat production to North Africa. This was a huge issue, as well as, their military contractors, okay? Different topic for a different day. The point is, when you start outsourcing, it's just not the same. You know that. Just with workers, you see the same thing. Hey, this isn't like we used to have. And a lot of people, a lot of customers get upset about that. You could see the chart associated. Yes, of course, things have changed. Mexico, with this whole friend-shoring and near-shoring, bringing more production in. I don't think it could replace for everything. There's no question about that. However, I can definitely see that there is a trend that will likely continue at least for the next little while, because the tensions between the US and China continue to escalate. Water level projections threaten future Panama Canal transit. When you see the charts and things, you realize that there is a very serious problem. All I'm trying to highlight here, by the way, you can see on the right hand side, that's the current numbers, and it's just way below. Stuff getting from one place to another is becoming more difficult. That means rising prices, higher prices for you as a consumer. And then we move into the energy side of things. Critics slam province for supporting refurbishment of the Pickering nuclear plant. This nuclear plant in Ontario leaked radioactive water inside, or I believe, now I'm going to second guess myself as I say that, but I've covered it here on the channel in more than one video over the years. It definitely leaked radioactive material into the drinking water of many people, millions of people. That's okay though, because they said it's just a small amount and we don't have to clean it up. Anyway, that's just me venting. Looking at this, you can see that they are going into refurbish mode. They're going to extend the life of a lot of these places. France is doing the same thing, and it goes on. New wave reactor technology could kickstart a nuclear renaissance, and the US is banking on it. So there's all these different types of nuclear that are coming out. We have these like smaller type, modular type mini reactors where you could build them out. Let's just say you had a more rural setting. Every time you try to bring energy from one place to another, there's more resistance. You lose energy. It's just difficult to do this. You would want it to be as local as possible. They're doing this. They're trying to get on it more and more. That is a positive thing to see. And then you look at this. I believe I had that, yes, right here. Looking at the nuclear energy becoming the most discussed topic at COP28, which was in Dubai. Covered it here many times as it was going on. A historical support for decarbonization and nuclear energy as a source of low emission baseload energy in particular. More than 20 countries, with the exception of China and Russia, signed a declaration pledging to triple nuclear energy output by 2050. Okay, so let's just stop there. What does that mean? More nuclear. What then if they're going to do it? The governments are doing it. They're going in this direction. Nuclear. Who stands to gain? Cui bono? Well, of course. This is where we have to start realizing, well, what does nuclear use? It uses, number one, there's obviously the companies surrounding the construction. There's all sorts of elements required in building nuclear plants. But the uranium is the key. There's no question about that. No question. All right. So already they're talking about the billions of dollars that are going into it and so on. And if they're going to not be taking uranium from Russia because Russia's, outside the circle of friends, well, then it's going to put more pressure, more demand on the suppliers in Canada and in other places. Uranium market's bullish trend to persist for years to come. Now, of course, Cameco, this is the one that I have been highlighting since 2020. All right. But not because, any particular thing. It's just the biggest company. So it's sort of an easy target in that sense. But look, now we've got to take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, the guy is the CEO of the company. He's going to talk about how wonderful uranium is. And so that's a fact. However, when we look at it over the past couple of years, the price has gone quite high. Cameco doubles 2023 uranium sales prices compared to the year earlier. They've done very well as expected. The demand is so obvious. But on the other end of the things, wind farms are overstating their output and consumers are paying for it. So you can see that wind, maybe some places could be good. However, when we want to generate the amount of energy that they suggest, like they need a lot more to be produced in the next few years, if you don't want that done with coal, if you don't want done that with biomass, like people burning wood and things, well then, you got to have this on a grand scale. And they're going to tell us that nuclear is the way to go. You can debate that. And, obviously there's Fukushima and everything. But this is what they're going to do. And who's going to win? That's what you got to understand. I've been yelling and screaming since 2020. And if you've heard me yelling and screaming, please put it in the comments below, because there's going to be new people here that are going to say, I don't know, is this guy telling the truth? But that's all we do here. Truth, so that you can thrive and prosper. Look, if this is this type of thing that interests you, on my Finance Friday lives, I get into the depths of this stuff. I actually have been telling people over and over again, screaming it, but not just telling them, explaining it, looking at it at a deeper level. And if you're interested, it's 2 hours every Friday, and then there's the recordings. So if you can't make it live, like we have people that can't make it actually live at that specific time, they get the recordings, 2 hours, actually more than 2 hours usually, but that's every Friday. You can get that. You can ask your questions. You can get your whatever it is. You're worried about retirement. You're worried about investments, this and that. You get your questions answered. We all look at this and have a great time. If you want, link is in the description, themoneygps.com/live. I hope to see you there. And of course, hit that thumbs up button. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.